Welcome to QuantLab. QuantLab में आपका स्वागत है. Cluster analysis is one of the very important techniques that you can use to build your strategy or your portfolio. The idea is that you have certain number of stocks within your portfolio and you can try and look for some variances. For example, you look at returns or volatility and you group them into certain clusters. So basically, stocks having similar characteristics will come into a certain cluster. There's not a machine learning technique per se, but more of a statistical technique. The idea behind doing this is you will be able to get a very good diversified portfolio, and that's what we are going to look at in this discussion. We'll look at the Python code as to how can we use k-means clustering algorithm to build a diversified portfolio and just arrive at simple charts in Python. All right. So some key takeaways as per Investopedia is for cluster analysis helps investors develop a cluster trading approach that helps diversification. You can also see clustering as to fitting certain segments, and some sort of systemic risk protection also comes in because you are gaining diversification. And one criticism of cluster analysis is that there's a high correlation in returns because within a cluster, stocks share some sort of similar characteristics. Now, this can be debated considering returns as well. Like sometimes a certain competitor, while within a same cluster, can have competitive advantage and they might be doing better than its peers. So that can be debated, but as a technique overall, k-means is a very, very popular technique for clustering. What is clustering? A simple visual approach. So you have, lots of stocks in a pool and you're trying to group them into different clusters. How are we doing the grouping? We'll take a look at. Sure, diving into more of the code. So here's what we have, the basics. Import pandas as PD, numpy as NP and all of that. So there's nothing big here. I'm using a certain style, which is 538. There's nothing, it's just plotting style. And then we're trying to define the stock prices, which is the tickers. So you have Reliance, you have TCS, all of this. There's a lot of different, some of these are more popular companies. Again, this is not a investment advice at all. This is just a list of companies we just picked from somewhere, right? So there's no correlation. We just try to be a very diverse with this, all right? Fetching the data, Yahoo Finance se data fetch karna. A small plug about the channel, please look in the description. There's a button to join. First click subscribe, then click join. When you join, you will get access to all the code in the channel. We will be sharing everything that we are talking about. All of these Jupyter notebooks are posted in the channel as is. We are working towards an automated process that can push the updates to you guys as well. That's the first thing. Second, there are a lot of affiliate links in the channel. So if you click on any of them, that will definitely help me achieve some of my monetization goals. So yeah, if you need it, if you want to use some discount codes as well, just click there. Coming back, closing prices only. We just filter on the closing prices. Basically, Yahoo Finance.download will give me all the data. Like for example, if I just show you how data will look like, data will have a lot of different columns inside it. It's just gonna have low, medium, high, everything for just at close for all of them. So it will have like 156 columns. So we are just trying to filter 26 columns, which is just take basically the closing price. All right, so we have just stored the closing price in a simple separate variable data frame, and here's how it looks. So from 2022, we have data till probably 2024 August, which is literally latest. And what we are going to do is, these are closing prices, adjusted closing prices. So we are going to calculate the mean and the variance for the return. Sorry, I want to delete this. Cool. And how do you calculate the daily return? You just look at two variables, two values, and look at PCT change, which is percentage change. So that's what this is doing. Then you get it multiplied by 250, and then you calculate the variance for the year. Okay. So once we have the variance and return for the year, we have the stock symbol, we have its variance, and we have its return. And then we are trying to give it some sort of cluster labels as well, right? So cluster labels are just random numbers right now allocated. Let's see where they are. Yeah, these are just random values. Okay. So how do we go and determine the optimal clusters, which is using an ELBO method? This is the right technique to use for clustering. What we are trying to do is number of clusters, which is how many groups are we trying to have. So elbow method is a very simple technique where it tries to balance out the value of k, which is k means, and essentially you arrive at the number after which the increasing the number of clusters does not make sense. So basically the sum squared error does not start to make sense. So in this case, we can probably see that at 4 or after 4, we can even, probably look at 5 as well. But after 4, it's just, going on a much downward length. So this 4 is a good number for number of clusters. Elbow method is essentially the technique that you use to identify the number of clusters in it. So think of it like the point where the number of clusters increase, and then after that is just too much of clusters to deal with. Now in certain cases you might want to go beyond 1 or 2 just to be able to isolate it better. However, you will find that it will kind of lead to overlapping clusters as well. So we pick the number 4 and then we take the data and essentially try and fit that into the labels that we have. So now what we have is we have created the data frame df2, and then the cluster labels have been assigned as per the previous values that we have received, and you will be able to see certain values here. So there's 0, 1, 2, 3. I don't see any 4 here, by the way. Sorry, I don't see any 3 here. Yeah, 3 is present into only 1. All right, so most of them are falling into 0, 1 and 2. Then what we are doing is we are just plotting it, simple plot. You can use ChatGPT to generate this kind of plot. The idea for the plot is to essentially visualize it. So as we can see, there are this is the third cluster, which is just somewhere out. And then we have very clear clusters forming cluster 1, cluster 2 and cluster 3. This is basically clustering by color coding, and the plot essentially shows that the stocks are divided into 4 clusters. Ideally, there's an outlier, so we should only treat probably these 3 clusters, and each cluster represents a group of stocks that have similar characteristics in terms of the measures that we have used. Here, we have used the measures as returns, which is daily returns, and variance. We can definitely look at other parameters when we do clustering, and we can have risk-based parameters, we can have more lagging parameters, we can do more correlation studies and things like that. But clustering will give you a way to nicely diversify your portfolio. There is some analysis that we can derive as well. So for example, the red cluster is distinct from others. It has high variance and negative returns almost. After this point, which is 0.0, is when we start to see positive returns. So the cyan or the purple cluster is where most of the return stocks are coming, which is 0.3, 0.5. Yellow is kind of, again, okay-ish returns, not very high, but again the variances are also acceptable. So yeah, that's essentially the point, right? So when you have a cluster, you are able to measure a certain stock against some parameter, in this case return and variances, and this gives you a way to diversify your portfolio. This gives you a way to structure your portfolio a little bit better. All right, so hope this knowledge was useful for you. If you want to go more into deep dive into it, please put comments. If you're looking for specific techniques to be covered, please put a comment as well. There are multiple series running around. There's fundamentals of Python that we're going to post very soon. We have statistics for Python. There's options discussions going on. So please scan the channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.